Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, June the 1st, race number 7 at Belmont Park. We're going a one-turn mile and a 16th. This race is for fillies and mares. They're New York breds. It's a second level allowance with a $45,000 claiming option. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile, which includes free formulator past performance. This is a very evenly matched group, as you can see by our friend and colleague David Aragona's morning line. Bustin Bay, the number 3, tepid 3-1 favorite.
Yeah, second off the claim for Linda Rice with, obviously the figures to make herself pretty tough in this race, Dan. Have no argument, I guess, with her being the morning line favorite in this race. But we'll see how the wagering all shakes out, because a few different ones could take money in here.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and I don't disagree with this pace projector at all. The number 1, Rebo's Valentine, should be fresh. She's stretching out for the first time. She gets blinkers. I think there's a good chance she can make the lead.
Yeah, it almost feels like they really only have one option here, breaking from the rail, Dan, stretching out for the first time. She has plenty of speed. They're supposed to use it.
The number 2, BB's Busted, as you see, has the LP flag over her chiclet, which indicates she has the fastest late pace rating from Timeform US. If the pace is hot, maybe that helps her chances. Let's talk a little bit about Rebo's Valentine, and we'll begin by showing her most recent start. It's her one race in 2023. It was about 5 months ago, going 3/4 of a mile. I thought she was in a pretty good spot on the backstretch, and she just wasn't quick to hit this hole in upper stretch. She gets to the outside. She's one pace late. She kind of grinded from the 3/8 pole all the way down to the wire, and that makes me wonder if maybe this extra distance will suit.
Yeah, it's a big question in this race, because it obviously, if she can get this far, she's supposed to be a contender in this race. And they've run her twice now in this 2X condition. She was favored both times. She didn't win either of those races. I didn't think she had a big excuse last time. I didn't think she ran that well. I like some of her earlier races. I think she has talent. I don't necessarily trust her to get this far.
I was a little worried when I looked at her siblings on Formulator, and to do that, you just click on the dam's name. And I was expecting to see maybe some stamina. There's a lot of speed on the bottom side of this family. Maybe the being by point of entry will help her get this far. The 2 is BB's Busted. 17 second place finishes in her career. First off, the Jeff Engelhardt claim last time out. She caught a muddy track. She really didn't fire that day. You could probably give her that race. But she looks like the kind of mare that maybe could pass a few in the stretch and sneak into your exotics. Not sure if she's a true win contender, especially at that 5-1 holds up.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want to bet her to win either in this race, but I do think she's a contender in this race. The more I looked at it, Dan, the more I just sort of felt like I'm just going to give her a pass for that last one off the claim. They claim her in February. They lay her off for a few months. She comes back. She doesn't run that well, but she has way better races than that to get to. Obviously, she's going to need to run one of those, and then she's going to need some pace to run into, and I don't necessarily really feel like this pace is going to be fast in front of her.
The number 3 is Bustin Bay. This is our morning line favorite, who finished ahead of 3 of these foes in this race. Her first start off the Linda Rice claim, going a one-turn mile over a muddy track. There didn't appear to be a ton of pace in this race. The winner went gate to wire. Bustin Bay, I thought, had a pretty good trip, saving ground in behind the leader, easing out into the stretch, and getting up for second. She ran fine. I wonder if some of the other horses that are behind her were compromised more by the way the race was run.
Yeah, that's probably true. This was a wet track, though, and Bustin Bay maybe just isn't quite at her best over this kind of going. It's also worth pointing out that the horse that won that race is actually pretty good. So, listen, I kind of feel like she just ran her typical race in there, Dan, and I don't have a huge argument against her in here. I'll just say this about her. I am steadfast in my belief that she is better sprinting than she is routing. I know that she won a race at Saratoga going the mile. I know that she won 2 starts back. Aqueduct going the one-turn mile. You can go back and watch the replay there. That pace was not fast. She was desperate to hold on at the end of that race. I don't think she's at her best going this far. If she's the favorite, I'm betting against her.
Sister Linda, the number 4, conversely, seems very comfortable in these one-turn routes. 2 prior wins at Belmont, 1 in this distance, and then this win going a one-turn mile at Aqueduct in her one start this year. Now, this is an open $25,000 non-winners of 3 life claimer. She got a pretty good trip sitting off a moderate pace. She wins, and she looks good doing it. The problem is she returned to the winner's circle, having bled. The potential claim was voided by the vet, and now we haven't seen her in about 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that you have to concern yourself with. We'll just see what kind of price she is, because I think that's going to be the most important thing, Dan. I think she's as good as anybody in this field. She can be very inconsistent. She's not that easy to trust. And you have that last issue to deal with out of that race there where they dropped her in for 25. That being said, if she is ready to show up with her good race in here, I think she just might be a little bit too good for these horses. But you just have to wait and see what kind of price she's going to be here, Dan, because I don't think you want to trust her at a short price.
Like the number 2, BB's Busted. The 5, Mia Be a Star, likes to run second, 11 seconds, 9/3 in her career with only 4 career victories. She came out of that last race with Bustin Bay, and she was one of the horses that might have been compromised by the lack of pace, by the wet track. Her race 2 starts back, maybe 6.5 was a little bit short for her. 3 back going a 1-turn mile, Mike, she just missed. If she could find that race, maybe she could sneak into this at a price.
Yeah, she's got plenty of races that would give her a real chance in here. We'll see if she's going to show up and run one of those, because her last 2 performances aren't really good at all. Worth pointing out that race 3 back that you just mentioned, Dan, that's the race where Bustin Bay was on the lead and was not finishing. And this mare almost caught her. She didn't quite get there. She almost never wins. I can see using her underneath.
Here's another Linda Rice trainee coming into this race in sharp form. That's the 6, Amanda's Folly. She had a mini 2-race win streak snapped against open $40,000 claimers, restricted to 3-year-olds. As you see, this race is run over a sloppy track, going 7/8 of a mile. She has some work to do in the stretch. She gets up for 3rd.
Yeah, never a real threat to win this thing, but she does race on at the end. And you mentioned that she did win her prior 2 starts. One of those, a 16 claimer, the other one where she was entered main track only in a race that just didn't really come back that fast. I think she's in fine form right now, but it's pretty clear that she needs to run the best race of her life to win here.
I think the 7, My First Love, is somewhat of an interesting long shot. I liked her race 2 starts back, going a 1-turn mile. She sort of pulled herself up along the inside to set the pace inside of a long shot. But the minute she put that horse away, she was confronted by 2 others on the turn, and she put those horses away to win very easily. Maybe last time out in that Bustin Bay race, she didn't like the wet track. She was sort of chasing outside. I could give her another chance, and she seems to have some tactical speed.
Yeah, especially at the price that she's listed at on the morning line. I just really wouldn't argue with her. Before the last one, I just thought she was in really good form. Just kept showing up and running one good race after another for Ferraro. The last one wasn't great. Maybe there's an excuse for it. Maybe there's not. I think 8 to 1's a fair price.
Cinderella's Cause is going to step out of the first level allowance ranks after this victory, 1-turn mile at Belmont last month. Thought she ran pretty well in this race, Mike. You see her just pouncing on this long shot pace setter turning into the stretch. And once she strikes the front inside the 316, she's on her way.
Yeah, good performance here. Good trip in this race, but also a good effort from this mare, who does feel like she's in good form right now. She ran fine 2 starts back, Dan, but no match really for My First Love, who's also back in here. They're going to keep pressing on with her, move her up and try this 2X condition here. She's another one, though. I kind of feel like she might need to improve to win this race.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Belmont Stakes right around the corner. Mike Welsh Clocker Reports going to be up on DRF TV. Here are our top picks. Mike, you're going with Sister Linda in here. I understand the reason why you like her. I know some folks are not going to like her simply because of the voided scratch, the bleeding last time out, but that just might help you get a better price on a horse that was very sharp, and sometimes you just trust the barn.
Yeah, that's just going to be what I'll have to wait and see, Dan, because again, if she takes money in this race, I really don't trust her enough to want to bet her at any kind of short price. I thought if she was in the 4 to 1 range, this is a good spot for her. I would take that. I really like her getting back to Belmont.
I have some concerns about the distance for Rebo's Valentine, but I think she's still lightly raced enough that we can project a little bit of improvement. With the blinkers on, she should show some speed. And I'm not sure how fast this pace is going to be. So maybe she can control this and sprint on home. 4-3-2-7 for Mike, 1-4-3-8 for me. It's our Thursday race of the day. It's at beautiful Belmont Park. Best of luck.